Hi, this is Kim Nelson, the Jewelry Design Department at FIT. This tutorial is for JD139. It's a basic drafting tutorial. I'm going to draft a 5-sided pyramid as per our course assignment. I'm going to start by creating. I recommend that you set your layers up so that you have more than one layer. You should have at least 3 or 4 layers. You can add those right here, and then you can name them here by double clicking. You can change the color here to whatever you want. Okay, just it's good to have, especially for a project like this where you're going to be doing construction lines. So whenever you are drafting, you'll want to have several layers. Okay, I'm going to start by doing a construction lines down the center of my viewport. Now, Rhino, you have a grid system here. These grids should be set to 10 millimeters apart, along with a grid snap of 10 millimeters. If your grid looks a lot denser than this, you want to go to your Tools, Options, Grid Setting. Make sure it looks like this: 110, 20, 10. Okay. So, construction line. It asks for the start of the line. I'm going to type in 0, enter. That's the middle, 0, 0, 0, the middle of Rhino's workspace. I want this line to go both directions. I can click here, or I can just type in the B, the capital letter here at the beginning. And that line will now extend both directions. I will hold down the Shift key. As we discussed in class, this will constrain my cursor to going in a orthographic or 90-degree angle. I'm going to repeat that for a line going the other direction. Okay. Going to start by drawing a circle. We're drawing our top view first, since that is the most important view for this pyramid. We want to know how many sides it is, what have you. So the top view will be where we start. Center of circle is 0, so I'll type in 0. It's asking me for a diameter. I will go with 20 just to keep it tidy. Make sure it's 20 diameter. If it's radius here, click here. This will toggle it back and forth. Make sure it says diameter, 20. Now, whenever Rhino builds a circle on its own, it puts the seam over here. We don't want that for our pyramid. We want the seam here. There is a way to adjust that. We're going to pre-select our geometry. Curve menu. Curve Edit Tools, Adjust Closed Curve Seam. And you can see, indeed, that's where Rhino has put the seam. I'm going to have Quad Snap set up here. On yours, you'll probably see it down here below. As you know, I set my workspace up a little differently. When you're finished, press Enter. And now the seam for that curve is at the bottom. I want to divide this curve by 5. Now in Rhino, when you divide a curve with points, you're not actually splitting it or cutting it. You're just placing point objects, which are a class of geometry, along the curve. So going to the Transform tab, going to click on Cascade the point object flyout. Going to pick Divide Curves tool command. I'm going to right click on it. You can see if I left click, it divides it by length. If I right click, it divides it by number. I want number. It put the seam point, annoyingly enough, back where the original seam on the curve was. That's fine. I'm just going to move it down to here. So I've dragged it. Press Enter when done. Number of segments. It remembers the last number of segments you did. Apparently the last number I did was 16. Type in 5. Enter. Okay. So these are just curves that are sitting on, points that are just sitting on that curve. I can move them off whenever I want. They're there as markers, reference geometry. We'll do that a lot in Rhino. Create geometry for no other reason than to use as a reference. Can close this pop-out window. I'm going to use a polyline tool. I'm going to set my snap to point. I'm going to start here in the front. I hate Smart Track, so I will turn that off. Okay. I no longer need my circle. I no longer need my points. I'll go to the Select tab, Select Points tool, delete. Back to my curve. Okay? So that is my most important view, my top view. There's its outline. Now I need to draw the actual faces of the pyramid from the top. So I'll draw with a line tool. I'm going to click on point and intersection. Even though that hides behind the green line, it is there. Okay? Now I want to draw my next view, which is going to be the front view. Okay? So I need to draw a baseline for this front view. I'm going to make this pyramid let's see, just trying to visualize what would be nice. I'm going to make it 12 millimeters high. Since each one of these boxes is 10 millimeters, I need to have at least 2 boxes of space to do what I want to do, to draw that. So I'm going to just offset my construction line. I'm going to go back and activate the construction line layer, which in my case right now is top. I want to snap right to this grid point, so I will turn on grid snap. I can click here, or I can use S enter, which is the keyboard shortcut. So I have the baseline there. I'm going to go ahead and draw the baseline for my other views, because I'm going to make them all the same distance away. So I'll offset this way. Remember that offset remembers your last distance. Okay. I'm going to draw 4 views today. Top, front, back, and side. Right side. I don't need to draw a left side because it's symmetrical from left to right. The view would be the same. Okay. I want to extend these construction curves to reach my baselines. So I'm going to go curve, extend curve. It has to select a boundary or to enter an extension length. We're going to click on these 3 baselines as boundaries. Press enter when done. Select a curve to extend. Press enter when done. Okay? I would also like these baselines to intersect. An easy way to do that is to use our fillet curve. Fillet curves will bring 2 curves together and put a radius at the end. However, if you set the radius to 0, yours will probably be 1. That's Rhino's default. It remembers what the last dimension you put in was. If you change that radius, if I don't change the radius and I fill it, puts a small 1 millimeter radius here, extends the curves and fills the gap with a small radius. However, if I set that radius to 0, it will just bring the curves together and have them touch perfectly. I'm going to go through that command slow. I execute the command, which I did by just hitting enter. Remember in Rhino, if you want to repeat a previous command, you just hit enter. And that was the last command I did, so if I hit enter, it gives it to me again. It says select first curve to fill it. I can pick either one. You want to pick near the end you want to extend. I don't want to pick over here. Pick second curve. Done. Okay, so I have everything I need here except for a miter line. The miter line, as you recall, takes place at the 45 degree. At the intersection of any two lines that represent the same thing. This is an important concept. Okay, I could have made a line that is halfway down the pyramid. I could have made a line that represents the peak of the pyramid. It doesn't matter as long as this line refers to the same aspect of your drawing in all three views. You can draw a miter line where those lines intersect. In this case, we have baselines. They're intersecting here. So I will draw a miter line. I'm going to make my miter line in red so it stands out. Curve. Start of line. I'm going to turn off grid snap because it's really limiting my movement. I want end snap on, and I want only end snap on for now. So I'm going to right click on end. That'll erase the other object snaps and just give me the one I want. Okay. I want both sides. I'll just type in B, enter. And I want it to go 45 degrees. Now this is at a grid intersection, so I can use these grid points if I want to, these grid intersections. It's also, these are equal distant, which means that 45 degrees will go right to the center, because these basically encompass a circle. But I'm going to show you another way, and that is to constrain the direction of the line. We already have one directional constraint that we know how to use, and that's ortho, where we hold down our shift key. I'm going to teach you another one, and that is angle constraint. And to do that, we're going to hit the back arrow key on our keyboard, which on my keyboard requires a shift key. Hold down shift, it's right above the comma on your keyboard. There's the backward arrow, and then type in whatever angle you want, in this case 45, and hit enter. You will see that as long as I'm in this command, I am now constrained to 45 degrees. So I'll bring it in a ways and click. I can do the same thing here, but I'm going to go, since I know it's symmetrical, well, I'll do it again just for practice. I could have just mirrored that curve. But start of line, B, enter for both sides, backwards arrow 45, enter to constrain direction, click. I have everything I need now to make my drawing. So I'm going to bring information down into my front view using my construction lines. I need to bring down any corner that I have, corner or edge that I have, into this front view. Remember, on offset we have to go through point option. I can click that or type T, enter, to allow me to move that line to wherever I want it. Okay? And I'm going to use my end snap to click right on that corner. If we were using a pencil, we would just by eye line up our ruler, but we're not in pencil land anymore. I'm going to grab this corner. It's the same distance, which Rhino remembers, so and it's symmetrical, so I can just click. Note, I could have also offset both sides, but and that would have been faster for me, but I'm trying to do this in a way that also is clearer for you to understand. The center line I don't need to create because I already have it. So these are the three pieces of information I can bring into this view for the front. So what I need now is I need to have 12 millimeters of height. That's what I decided that I wanted. Okay. A couple of ways I can do that. I can put a point here, and then I can move that point, M, enter, click anywhere. As you know, we use relative positioning movement. And then I can constrain the distance, 12 millimeters. Now, no matter where I click, it's 12 millimeters. And then I can constrain the direction with Shift key so it goes straight up. And that point will give me what I need. Another way I can do this is to offset this ground plane, baseline. Offset, and instead of using through point, type in 12. Okay? It's another way I could do it. If we were going to mimic drafting tools, I could also do a circle center radius, put the center of my compass or circle here, make sure it's set to radius, type in 12. Where this intersects is 12 millimeters. Okay? Any of those methods will work. All we need to do is find a way to mark on this line where the elevation is. Okay? Going to draw the outline of my pyramid. Polyline. End. I need an intersection snap or a quadrant snap right here. There is no end for me to snap to. I'll add intersect to my list of active constraints, and I'll keep the polyline coming over here, and I will click. Now it's going to keep going until I hit enter or it closes itself. Actually, in this case, since I haven't actually drawn the baseline, I have a construction line there, but I haven't drawn it, I'll go ahead and let it click on this last point, and that will close the curve and end that command. Okay, the only other piece of information in this view is that center line, which I will draw now. Okay? And that is my five-sided pyramid from the front. The next most important view is the back. Okay. I need that same 12 millimeters. I can measure it, or I can use miter lines. Through point. Now, of course, if you're following, you know I could just type in 12. But I'm going to pretend I'm following traditional drafting technique. Grab the point of this. Bring a construction line up. Through point. Intersect. Grab that. Do this. Through point. And intersect there. And that carries that elevation using the miter line all the way around the back. I'm going to draw the outline of my pyramid from the back now, because I have the width already. That information has not changed. And once again, I'll draw the base of it while I'm there. Okay? I do have more information I need to bring and that I can bring into the back, and that's these two corners here. So I will draw a construction line, changing the color back to green, through that end, and through that end. Okay? It's symmetrical. Yes, I could have done offset curve both sides if I'd wanted to. Going to draw this back face. Of my pyramid. Now I could have used a polyline there. Instead, I chose to use two single lines. They're both fine. Okay. I'm going to take some of these construction lines that I've made just to make our drawing easier to understand. I'm going to put them on a different layer. And I will lock that layer so I don't select those accidentally again. That'll make it a little easier for us to see our drawing. And in fact, I can do the same with these. Okay. I no longer need this, but it's part of the history of my drawing, so I will keep it on my as a construction line so you can see how I came up with it. Okay. Now I'm going to draw the side view of my pyramid. The information I need to bring over is the width. So offset, through point, end. Offset, through point, T-enter, touch that end. This time I could not have used offset both sides, because you'll see if I try, it's not symmetrical from front to back. Okay, so in this case it was very important to do it the way that I did. I'm going to draw the profile of the side view of my pyramid using a polyline tool, using my drawing color. Intersect, snap, intersect, snap, and snap. Okay. The only additional piece of information I have to bring here is this corner. I have this corner, I have this corner. I need to bring this corner. Through point, activate my construction line, layer. So the last line I have to draw is from this reference point at the bottom to this reference curve, which represents the top. Okay? This line represents the foundation of the pyramid. This line represents the top of the pyramid. Okay? So this intersection represents the corner of that plane at the ground, and the line comes up and reaches the point at the top, which is here. Okay? And that completes our drawing. I'm going to transfer these to the storage layer. And I can do the same with my miter lens now. Okay, that is my finished drawing. If I wanted to, for sake of being thorough, I could mirror this over. Transform, mirror, start of plane, 0, enter, and then hold Shift key and pull straight up, so I get a horizontal mirror. And you'll see that that would be accurate. That's fine. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the storage layer. And to make it look more like a traditional drawing, I'm going to turn off the grid, which is F7 on your keyboard. Okay. And that's completed. Multi-view drawing of a 5-sided pyramid. Thanks for watching.